Every generation has its own iconic horror movies. The 70s gave us Leatherface, the 80s had Freddy and Jason, and the 90s gave us a whole new breed of slashers armed with cell phones and meta dialogue. And after Scream cracked the code in 1996, studios scrambled to find the next big teen slasher movie. Enter Urban Legend, a film that played with urban legends the same way that Scream played with horror movie tropes. So today we're diving into the full Urban Legend trilogy. Let's find out whether this cult horror franchise is worth revisiting, or if it should stay in the folklore graveyard. The first movie follows a string of grisly murders shaking up Pendleton University, and student Natalie and her pals slowly realize that the killer is using urban legends as murder methods. The film opens up with a take on the classic killer in the backseat tale. That's right up there with the opening of Scream as one of the best intros to any horror movie of the time. The movie keeps to a mostly straight-faced slasher tone, sprinkling some more comedic moments. Phoenix Pictures took on the project in late 1997, with producer Neil Moritz, then hot off I Know What You Did Last Summer, came aboard to produce the film, and hunted for a young director to helm the project. They ultimately went with first-time director Jamie Blanks, an Australian horror fan who made waves with his short film Silent Number, and was previously considered to direct both Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer. And it was a concept trailer that he made for the latter that ultimately got him the job to direct Urban Legend. Despite the tight schedule, the film boasts some slick cinematography, and in keeping with the late 90s slasher revival, the cast included several genre veterans, like Robert Englund and Danielle Harris to ground the horror tradition, and also adding in TV stars like Joshua Jackson and Tara Reid to appeal to the teen audiences of the time. And though critics of the time smeared the film as a blatant Scream ripoff, it proved to be very popular among young horror fans, as it grossed over $72 million worldwide on just a $14 million budget. And over the years it's gained a loyal cult following, with its Scream similarities being more celebrated and recognized as being very intentional, with the film cementing itself as a stylish entry in the late 90s slasher cycle. And with any successful horror movie, of course, comes the potential of wanting to expand it into an ongoing franchise. And with that came the sequel, Urban Legend's Final Cut, which came to fruition 2 years later. The sequel shifts the scene to Alpine University Film School, where student Amy Mayfield decides to make her thesis project about a campus killer. Soon enough, real students start dying in ways drawn from urban legends, and Amy's film crew is terrorized by a mysterious killer wearing a fencing mask. Why a fencing mask, you ask? Well, same reason Jason wears a hockey mask, I guess. It was directed by John Ottman, the composer best known for his work on the X-Men films. Ottman has said that he aimed for the sequel to be more tongue-in-cheek than its predecessor, and indeed Final Cut does play up its more campy elements. But unlike its predecessor, Final Cut neither ignited a craze nor won critical love. It earned about half the box office of the first film, grossing about $38 million, and was panned by critics upon its release. And the success of the Blair Witch Project the year prior has also thought to been a culprit for making more glossy slasher films like this start to go out of style in the early 2000s. But it is now more fondly remembered as it's a more unique take on the first film's concept, even if it's not quite as beloved. And although this sequel did not inspire any more theatrical entries, the franchise did take a detour into home video, for 5 years later we got Urban Legend's Bloody Mary. The third and as of now final entry changes the formula entirely. This time it's a supernatural teen horror movie. Set around another campus, the story opens with a grisly prom night crime. A shamed high school girl, Mary, is locked in a trunk and suffocates, and decades later 3 modern high school girls perform the Bloody Mary mirror chant. Soon the girls vanish for a day and return with no memory, and ghostly murders begin targeting anyone involved with that old secret. With the film going fully into the supernatural territory and solely focusing on the one Bloody Mary legend, it hardly resembles or really fits with the first two movies, making it a very poor attempt to cash in on the franchise appeal, quickly disappearing into obscurity. And it's often been thought that the original script wasn't even intended to be an urban legend film, but they decided to just add the title for more marquee value, but nobody knows if this is actually the case. So despite some uneven sequels, the urban legend brand was still fondly remembered enough that Scream Gems actually announced a reboot of the franchise in 2020, but then ultimately cancelled it. But now another reboot attempt is said to be currently in the works, so these campus killers and folklore themed frights may yet find a fourth outing. But with the recent reboot of I Know What You Did Last Summer not really doing much business, nor being particularly well received, it's hard to know for sure if a reboot of Urban Legend will actually move forward. But the fact that it's even being considered is enough to prove that, as the series slogan joked, urban legends themselves refuse to die. Thanks for watching this retrospective video. Be sure to subscribe for more videos, and until next time, be sure to consume as much entertainment as humanly possible, and I'll see you in the next video.